Hey, Evgeny, how are you? Good morning.
I'm doing really well. Very happy to be here on your show
Well, we're a little bit far apart here. I'm here in Israel. You're up
in
north
Toronto
somewhere
right
in
now.
Toronto,
In
right?
Toronto, Canada. Yeah,
Which is great, but we're still having a great summer in front of us. It's great to have you on my podcast. It's always great to get your latest and greatest. You're doing a lot of things over the past couple of years. But what is remarkable is that you have published a new book,
not just new, my first book. Yes, this is my
new
first
and
book that,
first one, which is absolutely amazing. And I think I was part of kind of your thought process when you first
yep,
started to kind of think about, well, maybe I will write a book. And I was actually asking you, what are you going to write about? You said, well, I'm still putting it together, but apparently, it come into reality. And first, congratulations. I'm sure it will
you.
be very good resource to whomever going to use that book in his building his career, soft skills and other skills as well. But I don't know if my audience actually knows you. You've been part of my podcast last year, but I will let you kind of give my audience a little bit of a background about yourself, and then we start, kind of
Sounds good.
into
I'll
the
do an
book.
elevator pitch. So
Absolutely.
I moved to Israel when I was 11 from USSR, now it's Ukraine. Actually did my nautical school, Tsinayam for people in Israel, and then did the Navy for 5 years in Haifa. And actually, my IT career started in the Navy as well. I was basically going and helping and fixing ships and doing maintenance on the ships and everything related to the Navy in Israel. This is where I learned about networking, more about electronics. Even so, I already had a degree in electronics as like a college degree and computers as well, and Linux and Unix and Windows and many, many different things. And during my Navy training, I also went and did MCC 2000. So I decided that networking is something important to me and I want to understand more. And after the Navy, I joined Checkpoint, one of the still big and still existing cybersecurity companies in the world. They've been around for a very, very long time. And while a lot of people started in cyber in IT, started in cyber from different roles, I started in QA.
Interesting.
So basically, yeah, I don't know many people that started their cyber in QA because I was testing firewalls and I needed to learn protocols. I needed to learn deep how what RFC mean, how it's applied, how stuff should be working. And I spent 2 years in Checkpoint. Was really, really grateful to kind of have a very, very quick and very deep dive on the infrastructure, understanding networking, firewalls, how it's working, routing. And when I moved to Canada, then I realized not everyone know how to debug a firewall, apparently. Majority of the people know how to configure rules. And I learned that I have a very deep understanding about the firewall, how it's working, but apparently I'm not a very good administrator of the firewall because I don't really know how to create all the rules and logs. It was much easier to understand the UIs and understand the stuff in the back. And that also gave me this understanding that when you know how stuff should work, you okay to learn a different firewall. You're okay to learn a different system. You're going to be able to adapt to a new UI, GUI, whatever you want to call this. But if you don't understand how stuff actually work, then it's not going to help you to move to a different UI because you don't
Totally
understand
agree.
how routing, how network access working, how firewall rules should be. And the name convention is irrelevant. Everybody call it a bit differently. This led me to a path to do quite a lot in Canada. So I worked with Checkpoint Firewalls for a number of years. Then I moved to become a team lead. Then I moved to become a group manager for people doing professional services, consulting engagement for customers. And it was across network security, endpoint security, SIEM, later on a bit of cloud as well. So as one of my manager used to say, I touch every technology. If you go in a data center and you spread your arms, you can touch every technology. It's funny. I'm spanning my arms right now, but you cannot see them because we're in the camera. And it's an important point because we lost this ability to communicate with people in the same room because we don't really have everything. So wow, I wanted to do something, but you don't really know what I'm doing because you don't see my arms. And it's going to be the same if I'm going to write notes on the side. You're not going to understand if I'm eating spaghetti or I'm writing notes. And why I mentioned this because it's a part of the book. The way we communicate right now is way different than the way we communicate in the room where we're physically in the same place. What I realized as a second-time immigrant is that it's not easy to connect to people. And I need to find my own ways to connect to people. And this means improve other things. My English is not perfect. My voice is not perfect. I speak very quickly, or at least used to speak very quickly. Now I learn how to slow down. I learn how to remove filler words. I learn how to actually work on my voice, how to be better present in a conversation, how to show empathy, how to show the excitement of what I'm doing and why it's important to me, and how to explain and ask questions. All this happened during my career in the Harjavik group. And while I did presentations, I did post services work, I listened to complaints from customers. Guess what? Customers sometimes complain. It happens from time to time.
Yep.
And I also did a lot of pre-sales, technical pre-sales. So I supported our salespeople in Harjavik group and I had this unique opportunity to listen to many vendors speech because we worked with hundreds of vendors. And I saw how they present and what I like and what I don't like. And I didn't really like the idea of, hi, hello, how you doing? How's the weather? Let me show you my presentation. Oh, let me show you my demo. And this was majority of people presenting like that versus asking, hey, Eran, I know you're a very intelligent person. I know you know why we're here, depending on the call, of course. Is there a better way to present you today or talk to you? Do you want me to do a presentation? We can do that, talk about architecture. We can talk about the demo. We can do different ways. I can give you like a list of things and you would choose and still put your guard layers versus just do what I want to do because this is what I'm confident in doing. And what I'm mentioning right now, it was the motivation to write the book. One part, we lost this ability to communicate in the physical room. It's much harder to connect. We have less time to connect to you on a personal level. And if you couldn't connect on a personal level, it's going to be very hard to even make you listen to my product because I have like 4 or 5 screens. I'm going to say, yeah, yeah, it's an amazing product. I'm doing something else. So our focus really not there. Second one is I didn't like how majority of the people present and connect. And the third one is, of course, the entire idea of people learn differently. I want you to provide the information in a different way, in a way that the person on the other end will understand, not in the way you understand this. This all went to the book and much more. Because if you think about this and take building blocks, and this is the reason why on the book you see blocks, it's the building blocks. Every chapter is a building block. Voice, it's a building block. We need to improve our voice. Video surrounding, it's a building block. Do you know how to use a camera? You know how to use a teleprompter. What the hell does teleprompter even mean? And why would you use one? And what is the reason would you use one? Because I want you to see my eyes and not look on the camera on my laptop while I use a different camera. You just see the side of my face. And while I see Eran, you see half of my face. And we do see this from time to time. I'm not even mentioning the idea that why you should be on a camera and not have the camera turned off. It's a different problem.
Right.
And then we're going more to how to deal with fear, because sometimes you may be afraid. How to be actually present, because we have burnout. Guess if you have too many make calls, you have a problem. There's like a side chapters. And of course, the main chapters, we explain how sales change, what changed, why, what we see right now, what is the role of sales engineer, in my view, what is the role of salesperson right now? How do we actually ask questions? By doing a lot of consulting, I learned a lot and I realized what's working, what's not working. I can ask Ran, hey, Ran, what's your favorite color? You may say blue. I don't know. What's your favorite color?
Blue.
Blue. Okay.
It actually blue.
Okay. But it's a very like it's a very close question because you basically say blue.
Yeah, you
Okay.
need to open up pretty much the conversation.
Yeah.
And
So how would you ask? How would you ask if you want to learn about my color, favorite color? How would you ask it differently?
differently, when I ask you, um, yeah, listen, Evgeny, in regards to colors, there's a lot of options. I'm sure that you like many of those, but in particular, what type of colors do you like and why do you like it? It's something that connect you with your past. It's something that reminds me of you on pleasant places or other great memories.
Yeah. So already I cannot just say blue. I say, you know what? It's actually blue. Why? Because I like the sea because it's reminding me wings there. So I can describe this part. Or you can even ask, like shorten your question and get to the point, but still like give it quite open. Eran, regarding the colors, can you elaborate on your favorite color and why? So
Exactly.
now you have to elaborate. Or if no, we can also add, can you elaborate? Now here's an interesting part. Let's say I ask Eran, what's your favorite color? And you say blue. And I want to say, but it wasn't enough because we may spoke about firewall system, we may spoke about endpoint security, we may spoke about cloud security. Like, hey, what do you use? AWS. Look, that's it. That's the answer. So now I can say, can you elaborate? Here's what may happen. Iran say, no, I cannot elaborate because he didn't give you an option. So basically, Iran can shut me off. Now, what happening if I ask you, can you elaborate, and you don't want to elaborate on your color, then I'm going to be basically slap on my hands because now I feel stupid. So part of soft skills is actually open up. It's actually to be vulnerable. You're going to ask a question where you potentially going to be slapped on your hands,
Absolutely.
and it's okay.
It's interesting. I don't know if we ever share that together, but I started as a system engineer. This was my background. I started as a system engineer back in end of the 90s with Cisco in the past. And I think it was one of the probably the best roles that I ever had, just because the amount of learning that I've been through, both in front of the sales team, the marketing team, the customer success team. We pretty much oversee all of those organizations within the enterprise. And in order to make me successful, I had to communicate well, not just with customers, but also internally. Part of the company success and my personal one is the ability to communicate and be kind of the bridge between the customer and the company, whether it will be a sales guy or a marketing guy or a tech guy, right? That's responsible for the product or product management, right? And some of those communications I had to kind of learn, you know, as I progressed within my career, because most of those kind of building blocks were missing, and I had to put everything together in order to be good at what I'm doing. And another level of complexity was, of course, the technology, because technology is always evolving. And you had to kind of mingling between, those soft skills that I had to develop and the tech skills that you have to integrate within that role. And one of the questions that I wanted to ask you is, you've been in the market for so many years, you've been in great companies, you moved throughout your career through a lot of both companies, seeing vendors. What have changed over time within
Wow.
those system engineering roles? How the soft skills were evolved?
As we say in the industry, it's a great question. It's very important because if you go 20 years ago, we pretty much had in cyber few products, like firewalls, email security, antivirus, some other things like very, very small. Right now, if you look at this, we have hundreds, more than 150 different categories and subcategories. Why I'm mentioning this? It become much more complex. It means as a salesperson, it's going to be very hard for you to understand on the nuances between serverless infrastructure, not serverless infrastructure, the correct name in AWS or Azure or GCP, or right now with AI, now we have AI and security and the different models and what you use and what you don't use. I think some of the technical people not always understand everything, and it's impossible. Why I'm going with this, in the past, we can always say, almost say that the sales engineer was almost like a demo monkey. Excuse my French. It means they will show up, they will do a demo, they will be amazingly smart, and they will leave. It will be not their kind of role to go and connect and talk more to the customer. Yes, it happened, but not primarily. In many cases, they will do the smoothing and the connection to the sales person. Right now, because it becomes so complex, I see the salesperson doing more of the connection. They have to do more of the selling. Why? Because the demo used to be done by the salesperson in the past. In some cases, the small part of the demo, or like all the presentations, are not the demo presentation. But right now, we see more the sales engineer doing more work, just because it becomes so complex. In the same time, it doesn't mean that the salesperson role become easier. No. The complexity of the selling of the solution become much more complex. Why? Because we now have a lot of documents we need to sign. We have a lot of legal NDA, MNDA, disagreement, these people. So the salesperson need to learn how to navigate all the RFPs, all the legal, all the procurement process, understand how customer buy. Hey, we didn't even have third-party management tools 20 years ago.
Right.
Right now, we're like, oh, I need to SOC 2 compliance. Are you ISO compliant? Do you have this? Do you have that? Can you show me this information? And in many cases, the salesperson will navigate and like, I mean, the orchestra of everything and all the gazillions of documents we need to do. This is one of the main changes I see in the industry for the last 20 years. And it's also reflect actually in the book as well. We talk about this part that stuff changed. We need to adapt. It doesn't mean we need to change everything, but we just need to adapt. We need to understand the difference. We need to be more open. You know what was also changed? We have educated customers. 15, 20 years ago, customer had no idea how much it cost. Customer couldn't check the video on YouTube. Right now, we have very, very educated customers. This is why I'm saying when you jump on a call, don't assume you need to teach and feed everything like a spoon to a customer. They probably already checked your solution on YouTube, understand a bit about what's happening. They maybe have an idea what they want. Of course, it really depends. It's the first cold call, they may not. But if they looking for a solution, they probably already did some exploration to understand what you do and how you do.
That's a great point.
Yes, people may.
That's a great point. Another question that I had in mind in regards to soft skills, and this is probably, and that's the reason probably you jumped into that pool of soft skills and how it kind of impact, right, the sales team and specifically the system engineering side of the house is within today's sales cycle, how important are soft skills to the technical skills of the team? Is that 50-50? Do you need more soft skills today than others?
Well, it's a good one. Yeah, I think you need more because if you have an amazing brain, and many people I meet have an amazing brain, but they cannot concisely in an easy matter, in an easy language output what's here to me, then no. If a person is shy, then they lose credibility. If the person is mumbling or have a lot of filler words, they lose credibility. It's like a package, you don't just take one part of the person, you take the entire package. You may see an amazing, beautiful person on the street, but the moment you start talking to them and you see them may lack intellect, it doesn't matter who it is, man or woman, then you're like, oh, okay. The book cover was nice, but the moment you open the book, it's not. But it's not the case here. in many cases, we see someone that we don't know if they're smart, but we think they're smart. And then they start talking, you kind of understand they're smart, but because we're so impatient, we don't want to wait for them to tell us how they're smart.
Correct.
We
Yeah.
want them to fluently explain. And it just does not in sales. This could happen internally in a company when you're trying to present your idea to your manager, when you're trying to ask for a raise, when you're trying to explain why we need some kind of changes in the company, is your ability to outcome everything. Actually, one person asked me, why did I included voice and video setup in my book? And I explained that, soft skills is a term. And then I decided it's part of soft skills as a package. Maybe if you go into encyclopedia, it's not going to be there.
Mhm.
But in my view, in reality, we're working, and because it's a book oriented to people that we're working right now remotely on Zooms, on Google Meets and Teams, it's an important package. It's an important building block. And honestly enough, as a podcaster, I have two podcasts as well and a conference. I have sometimes people joining and I see the struggle. And it's interesting to see that people don't really understand the psychological idea of being recorded. I may talk to you completely normal in a very easy matter, but the moment you click record, I will
It's
be
completely different. Yeah, it puts you on a different mindset, right?
so while I'm not a psychologist, don't get me wrong, from what I'm thinking happening, something in your mind telling you this is being recorded. This is going to
Correct.
be live forever in a cloud somewhere.
Somewhere,
My mom and
somebody
dad will
will
listen to
mark you
this.
as
My
a
yes, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my dog will listen to it. Now, if you as a human being don't understand that you need to adapt to this, because even right now, many calls with customers are being recorded because the
always. Yep.
customer asked to record it.
Yeah.
Or in your career, there's going to be a very good chance you're going to be asked to go speak at a conference or present to community, to a board directors. So you need to approach this as a package. Here's an interesting tidbit. I did voice training. I actually went to a speech professional that helped me to figure out what I can do with my voice. Figure out. Did you ever think about the idea? How does your voice sound? What does it
Yeah,
actually mean? Same as
that's weird.
we spoke
That's
about
the first time that you record yourself, it's really weird. The first time you listen to yourself within a podcast, it's really strange.
I mean, first time, it took me 8 months to be okay with my voice, I don't know how long. But do you think many people record themselves, just record themselves and listen to analyze? If you're not doing presentation, you're probably not doing that. And if it's weird to you and it's weird to most of the people, they may say, ooh, I sound so ugly. I'm not gonna do this. Bye. Versus, wait a second. I sound so ugly. Should I do it again? Should I let somebody else listen to it? Should I go to a therapist? Because we'll go to a therapist if you have a tooth pain or you have a back pain, but we're never going to go, not never, but not many of us will go to a voice therapist, a voice professional to help us understand our voice, to help us remove filler words, to help us even change
That's
the way we speak.
it's a great point, and I think it brings us to me to another question that I have. How difficult is it today to embrace new soft skills? And I would like to give you another angle of the Gen AI with all the recent AI tools. Is that something that actually helps people to gain additional greater soft skills, or it actually diminish some of those skills?
Think it helps you to do research, but I think it's diminishing soft skills because we can have AI to help us with this. Remember, we spoke about vulnerability. We need to open up. If you think about this, if we don't have the curiosity to go and learn and adapt and change, and curiosity in my mind is one of the important soft skills, then we're not going to be able to go and learn. Now, how easy is to write a unicycle? It is hard for
No.
majority of the
Yeah.
people,
But after
but
100
would you
hours, you probably will succeed.
Yes. Now, is it hard to ride a bike? Not so not so
Right.
hard because it's much easier. You can have training wheels. I hope you don't. You can try. It's easier course to start with the unicycle, but you have to actually start. And you're not gonna wait to learn how to ride a bicycle to a competition. You're gonna learn to ride a bicycle when you have free time. And if you like to go to a forest, and I just been mentioning bikes because actually in the book, and we just did a bike hike cybersecurity conference with a couple of people. If you let's say work in a particular feature, you're gonna learn on your backyard, front yard this feature. The same on the skateboard or many other sports. And what I'm going with this, don't try to learn soft skills on the job. Yes,
Yeah.
use them, but train yourself
Put a
outside.
structure. Put a structure behind that learning curve.
So not just structure. Try to use soft skills in the places where you will just be quiet on your phone. When you're buying groceries, can you talk with the cashier? When you're waiting in line, can you talk with the person near you? Guess what happened? You may have a conversation. You may find friend when you're waiting in line. You make when the cashier smile, if you want them smile, because it's all mini tasks of soft skills and mini vulnerabilities. Because what may happen, you're going to start speaking with the person, so like, what do you want? I don't want to talk to you. Or something like that. So it's a mini exercise that you can find outside of of work where you can experience and you can try soft skills. And it will make you probably a better human being. 100% going to make you a better communicator. Now, it's also interesting that the more you know about in general in the world, the easier for you going to be to communicate with somebody else. So we didn't mention hooks because hooks is fundamentally important. Why? What is hook? Hook is a, if you ever read Dale Carnegie, How to Find Friends and Influence People, he
Mhm.
speaks a lot about hooks.
Hooks,
What
right?
do I see in the picture? How do I connect to you? What do I talk to you about it? If I see golf in your picture, I can talk about golf. But if I don't understand golf, then how can I talk about golf? No, you don't have to be a pro golfer, but at least you understand the rules, you understand what's happening. But you can also have a reverse hook. A reverse hook, if you have something behind you, or you're wearing a t-shirt or a baseball hat, not like I'm saying you have to have a baseball hat on the professional calls, probably not. But you can create a scenario. Like, what do you have behind you? You have an arrow and
Yeah.
point you to partner now. It's a reverse hook. It's like, what's up with the arrow? What's partner now? You have a t-shirt branded with your name of the company. So you're creating a reverse hook and let people ask and understand who you are. I sometimes wear an Eminem t-shirt. You know how many times I'm like, oh my God, you love Eminem. And we
That's
just
the
talk about
reverse.
Eminem.
Correct. Yeah.
Like there could be so many different things. I have a green screen. You remember we had a couple of calls with green screen. People like, hey, what's up with the green screen? I can talk about my media work. And people don't understand reverse hooks. There's literally not many people that understand the usage of reverse hook. I'm never going to have a guitar behind me. Why? Because I don't play guitar. It's not going to work.
It's, one of those things that I'm just out of a curiosity. You met a lot of vendors, right? In throughout your career. Some were large vendors, with probably very professional sales and technical teams, right? They have been there forever. I want to kind of expand into the startup world because you have seen those as well.
Yeah.
And those companies require us to get traction in no time. They need to go out and about in order to put their name out. They need to connect quickly with their audience, with customers, with partners. But in most cases that I've been part of startups, no one within at least the management level had no requirements or demands around soft skills. They usually ask you mostly about your ability to kind of communicate on the technical side, to do a very processed, right? Very process kind of workflows that needs to be done on a daily basis, right? But they sometimes forget that, part of this journey of both the sales and technical teams requires a lot of soft skills to be kind of melted into kind of the your career. And I wonder what your thoughts around that. How this did actually the startup world can actually enjoy or get validated insights out of your kind of a research or thought process around soft skills.
In my second podcast, Cyber Inspiration, I usually ask, how do you hire people? And what's your
Oh,
company
great.
culture? So when I hire people, I want to see, understand, are you going to hire people that's similar to you? You're going to hire people to understand their personality. Do you want to hire people that are very genius, but maybe have a different personalities? So I always try to understand what people view on hiring. And some has a very mature process of how we hire, who do we want. We want diversity. We want not just diversity on culture, diversity on the way you are. You type A, are you type B? Type B, are you more detail oriented? Are you more vision oriented? There's different personalities of people. There's many tasks to doing this as well. And I guess by having different types of people also create a better soft skills because they're going to view stuff differently. How do you going to resolve conflicts in the company? How do you going to work with people to understand they're doing their job without doing micromanagement, leadership versus management? Because there is some part there. I think creating a company culture and you're not creating, it's kind of, oh, you have a vision or it start by itself. It's a part of soft skills. If you don't have a company culture, then you're not going to have a view on the soft skills as well. But if you're going to create a company culture or think about this, then automatically soft skills going to go there as well.
Right. I agree. It's interesting. Uh, so when somebody gets into reading your book, what you would like them to take out of it? What's kind of the three most important kind of takeaways that you would like
So
somebody to embrace?
one, in the end of the book, we have something called SSDP, Software Skill Development Plan. Is take the plan and start working on your soft skills. It's 30, 60, 90, 120 days plan to improve soft skills. So this is number one. Number two, don't expect that everything will change tomorrow. You need to understand when you start working on soft skills, find somebody like accountability partner, somebody that will help you to see how you progress and keep the hand on the pulse. This way, you're not going to stop and you're going to have somebody almost checking, hey, you're doing well. Yes, you improve this part, improve this part, improve that part. Three, this is something that I actually learned when I did photography. I did photography for a number of years. And there's interesting lessons that don't try to experiment with certain things when you don't understand how it's working. I'll explain this in a second. Learn the basics. Learn the understanding how ISO, shutter, aperture, how all this work. And when you learn all this, then go nuts and do whatever you want. What I'm saying here, there are certain things that help you to operate. Do a research before a call with the customer. Understand what they want. Understand who they are. Like kind of have a framework to approach to people. And then start changing the framework that's going to be more you because we're all different. Start playing with the parts, what's missing. It's okay to jump on a call without knowing anything about the person, but this is mean don't do this all the time because it is easiest part because you can spend even 3 minutes to research the person and then jump on the call to understand maybe you share the same language. I'll give you an example. Do you know how many times people jump on a call and they start speaking Hebrew with them and like, Oh my God, you speak Hebrew.
Yeah,
But it's in the freaking LinkedIn. It takes you a second to understand this part. And it's showing me, like for me, it's almost a test. It's showing me did they did the research or not. And it's not the point of this particular part. The point of the idea here is learn what's in the book. There's other amazing books as well. Start implementing what's in the book. And then slowly start to adapt and see what's working for you.
that's a great takeaways. It's fantastic takeaways. So before we're wrapping up here, Evgeny, where can we get the book?
Softskillstech.ca or .com.
That's
It's a
fine. That's
website
great.
for the book.
I will
If you
I will
if
link
you
it.
just go to Amazon and put my name, there's not too many Evgenys. There's actually, I think, only one person I know that with the same name and last name, but he spells differently, and he's
That's
an
very
English
unique.
teacher. Yes. So you'll find if you put Evgeniy Kharam at Amazon, you'll find the book there as well. It's a hard copy right now. We're working on a Kindle edition.
Nice.
And depending on time, we may do an audiobook, but audiobook is not going to be this year, probably towards maybe beginning of next year. But softskillstech.ca.com, this is the website for the book, where it's going to be, we're actually working on the SSDP software skills plan. It's going to be adaptable for a person when you put a quiz, and you can get the version for you. And later on, a training, video training as well.
Fantastic.
Start to work on this right now. LinkedIn, LinkedIn is an easy way to
It
find
is.
me as well. Evgenay Kharam, M like Mary. Find me, connect with me. Happy to connect. Happy to present to you at sales teams as well. I have several vendors where we're right now working on the book is only out for 2.5 weeks,
Yeah,
but I have several vendors where we plan to present to their teams and have some kind of a workshop.
fantastic. Well, what can I say? I'm so happy for you, really, Evgeny.
Thank you.
It's amazing to see such a project come to to something that is real that you can actually hold and read through, and I think you should be very proud on putting it together. I think the industry will definitely appreciate something like that. There's not a lot of books about technical soft skills within our world, and it's always important to kind of uh, think on what's next for me in terms of improving myself. Again, both on the sales side, on the technical front, how can I become better in what I do on a daily basis in front of my customers, both internally and externally? And it's something that everybody should probably go and kind of
Okay.
take a bite on. So thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you, as always. I think next time we should probably meet somewhere in Toronto, either for a bike ride or for skiing, right?
February, good idea. I like the idea.
So I'll take the invitation for next year gathering. I heard the last one was fantastic, and I wish you all the
Yes.
best. And hopefully I'll see another book from you in the coming
Step
years.
by step. Yes, but probably a couple of years. Yes, there's a couple of ideas already.
Absolutely great, fantastic. Well,
Awesome. תודה רבה.
תודה רבה. Thank you. Thanks, Evgeny. Have a good one.